everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Black Tea, the video podcast series that is all about Black women in advertising, presented by Muse by Cleo and hosted by me, Michelle Lawrence. Glad to see y'all again and super happy to be here with another amazing woman. Please meet Kendra Daye. Hey, Kendra.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Glad to be
Awesome.
here.
Thank you so much for coming on. Please tell people what you do and where you're based.
I am based in Queens, and I am the EA at Laundry Service, which is a full service ad agency based in Brooklyn.
Awesome. And so how did you get into advertising?
Oh, it was strictly unconventional. I had went to school for journalism and I had a minor in theater, so I thought it would be somewhere in the creative lane that I'd end up, but life happened. And so I went into finance because it was a little bit more lucrative at the time and I needed the funds. And I ended up being there for like 9 years, close to 9 years. And I wasn't happy at all. Wasn't really diversified. There was no inclusion. There was no room for upward mobility or growth. It kind of just was what it was. And at that time, I was like, all right, I need to pivot. And what do I have an interest in? And for me, it was PR marketing within that umbrella. Mm-hmm. So I took continuing studies classes at NYU in PR. Okay. And one of the classes I took was within advertising, branding, and marketing. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. This is really cool. Yeah. And from there, it was like, okay, how do I switch and get in the door, because that's where I think I want to be.
Yeah. And how did you get in the door?
It wasn't easy because finance is a different language.
Yeah.
And the bulk of the resume was mostly finance. So it was just like, you have no experience whatsoever. Why should we hire you? Mm-hmm. So it was a little difficult for me to get in. And at the time, it came to me really out of the blue. I think the universe conspired. When you want something, the universe will always conspire to bring it to you. And it came to me at a time where I was transitioning and I was intentional about not going back into finance. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to find a way, hook or crook. And I had a lot of offers to go back. They threw, really good money at me. And I was like, you can't do the same thing over and expect a different result. So Laundry Service came to me as a contract role. Okay. And I did some digging and I was like, you know what, this is new. Let me step out of my comfort zone and try something new. And it actually worked out for me in a really great way.
Mm-hmm. How was it kind of having the conversation with friends and family members that you're going from like the sort of like high-powered finance job to working at a place called Laundry Service? And I asked because I also work at Laundry Service. And when I told my mom what my agency was called, she was like, "That's what it's called." I was just like,
I got the same thing, but why laundry? Why Laundry Service? I don't understand. It was mixed. A lot of people are, but why would you leave finance? It's secure. Mm-hmm. It's a steady paycheck. You know what's coming. You know what to expect. You're literally going to leave that to get less money and to do what exactly? Mm-hmm. And then the other side is they were like, well, why not? Life is short. You're not happy. I say, do it. You can always go back into finance, worst case scenario, but what if you never tried?
Yeah.
And so it was a mixed bag, but I took the bet on myself. I was just like, at the end of the day, what do I want to do? What brings me joy? What brings me happy? Like, if I stay in finance and I'm there for the next 10 years, it's not going to get any better. So what am I doing to change my reality, my situation, the things that I want to do, my curiosity, my interest, and my career path? And that mostly is on me. Mm-hmm. You'll get so many contradicting advice, do it, don't do it. But at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your choice. And so you got to just bet on yourself. And that's exactly what I did. And it comes with some things, but ultimately it's the trajectory and direction in which you want to go. Where do you want to be another 5 or 10 years from now? And what are the steps that you're taking to change that? And it can be scary, but I think it's really worth it.
That's absolutely right. It doesn't matter how long you've been going down the path, that once you realize it's the wrong path, the best thing you can do is turn around and head back the other way. Doesn't matter
Yeah,
how long you've been.
doesn't
People will say,
matter.
oh, but I put in all these years in this commitment. Okay, but where are you going? And do you want
I
to
agree.
be in that place?
Yes.
That's what's up. I admire your bravery for stepping away from something secure and into something that you're more passionate about. I want to talk about what you kind of want to get out of this career, and what is one of your career dreams or ambitions that has not yet been realized?
What I wanted to get from just taking those classes, it was just a taste at what the whole world encompasses. And I was like, there's so much more to learn.
Mhm.
And so coming into laundry service, I was intentional, there goes that word again, about learning all of the nuances of what that world means. And so there's a language barrier. I did not know what an RFI or RFP or creative brief or all of these strategy departments and different roles and creatives and all the different roles. Like I literally hit the ground running, and there was no onboarding. Sometimes there is, sometimes they're not. I entered the company when it was transitioning, and I was the only EA in that area. So it was just kind of like I had to self-educate myself, and I asked questions, and I met with people directly for coffee and spoke with my boss about, hey, like, how do I engage more in the room? Because I want to understand what I'm doing. And as part of setting this team up, I need to understand the nuances here.
Mhm.
And so I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm actually in the room. I'm soaking it all up. Sometimes I'm part of the conversation. So for me, ideally, I would love to kind of continue to grow and develop into maybe a more functional, cross-functional role, like hybrid of new business and strat. I
Mhm.
think that's really right now what I'm really curious and interested in.
Okay.
I think that lane I'll probably have to carve out for myself, but I know that that's actually possible for me.
Yeah.
And as far as the bigger role, I think it changes. I think you have an idea of what you want to do, and then you get there and you're like, yeah, this is not what I thought,
Yeah.
but I like this.
Right.
Or I like these parts of it. So then how do I take this and then turn it around into something that can be fulfilling and rewarding and a career path for myself? And that's where I'm at. I'm learning, figuring it out, applying and growing. And I'm surprised that I would say this, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have an idea of what you think something is, and then
Yeah.
you get there and you're like, oh, this is it. Okay. That's just not what I thought it was. I actually love this operational function of it, or this creative function of it. And then how do I take this now and change this whole goal that now is changing for me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it a career path, right? Is like finding that your way along the way. And I love the how you embrace the openness of that. I feel like the way I was when I first got out of undergrad, like in my first career, was very like, okay, this is the first step, this is the second step, and I'm gonna stick it out, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. It was just like very kind of default decision making, because
Yes.
I feel like that's what's the next thing to do, as opposed to, and then what I tried to do post that career, moving into advertising and just all the experiences I've had since then, um, I've really been trying to embrace more of that feeling of like, how does this feel once I'm in here? Is this the right fit? You know what I mean? Am I actually enjoying this, or am I selling myself on something that I'm not enjoying? And if not, feeling free to pivot and making those moves. And I think there's something so beautiful about that we, are not necessarily societally coached to do,
No,
like
not at
everyone wants you
all.
to kind of stay the course, if you will. But it's like, if the course ain't working for you,
Working.
then veer off course. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on over there? Like, that looks like a
I
course.
agree.
Like, exactly. So I love that you're embracing that. And I think that, it's kind of a more fluid and flexible and probably more fulfilling way to think about a career, is, just never feeling like you have to land on that one thing and that's it. And you're here.
Yes.
This is it till I want to retire. I think there's always room
I
to grow, change, pivot, and to decide something different. So that's awesome.
And what I actually like about the person that the team that I'm working with now, mostly importantly, the CMO who I work really closely with, he's so open. And this is, I would say, the first company that's been like, well, what do you have an interest in? What are you curious about? What parts of it are you curious about? All right, let me see how I can pull you in. Let me see how, this is a new project. You wanted to learn more about that. Here you go. It's literally like an open door. And this is the first time I've had that where they were like, but you have a strength here. You're interested. There's an opportunity. It's yours. Take it. And that's definitely kind of helped me kind of see, I love this. I'm not crazy about this. I want to do more here. And that's really helpful too, when you have a company or a team or a boss that actually wants to engage with you in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, that's one of the things I'm loving most about Laundry Service as well, is the mentorship and the growth that is kind of poured into you as an individual.
Yes.
You really don't get that everywhere, especially not in advertising. And it's something that I found that they do really well. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about how your unique POV as a Black woman has influenced the way that you show up and work in a still predominantly white industry. How do you think that just being who you are kind of factors into how you approach your work?
Oh, that's such a good question. My experience so far has been, there is like this Black Renaissance. A cultural renaissance that we're in now, where we're being more embraced for who we are, not just trends.
Yeah.
And so what I will say is, I've been asked and pulled into the room where it's just like, but why? Why would this matter? Why do we care? Why? Like, what do you think is like the meaning really behind this?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, you're really asking me my real opinion? You don't want, you don't want the safe, well, this is insensitive, or it's just tone deaf, or it's not on brand, or we don't show up like this, or this is one particular age. They're not thinking about fluff. They want this. And so it's really asking you your opinion and really asking you your opinion and really wanting to hear it, versus just like, well, that's cute, but okay, she understands. She is open. And I think as Black women, we understand a lot of other struggles of different races that I think people are more aware of now.
Yeah.
So I will say my experience has definitely been more inclusive in that area. But also as a Black woman, me personally, I am quiet and reserved, but I am resilient. And I'm smart. And I think that people see that and they recognize that. And so there's just like, well, there's something there.
Yeah.
Like, there's something more, let's ask, let's see what she says. And I'm direct. So when I'm telling you something, it's not cookie cutter. It's really sincere and it's honest and it's direct. And I think that before that would be considered maybe threatening, maybe misinterpreted or taken a different way, where it's not like, oh, she has a very strong point of view and, this is why she's coming from, this is the experience she's coming from. And so it's been received well so far. I can't say I've had any experiences where I felt like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I need to tiptoe around anybody.
Yeah. Well, girl, that's great.
I know that there are people that have had, some really.
No, I don't wish it on anybody.
Yeah. I wish it on anybody.
Exactly.
And listen, they may take it and they may be like, all right, it doesn't apply, but I don't feel like I am disregarded or not heard, or I don't have a space to speak up about something, or have an opinion.
And I'm hoping that's speaking to where we are as an industry, where we're going as an industry, that people who are getting into the advertising industry, Black women specifically getting into the industry now, maybe won't have to have some of the horror stories that people have had and Black women have had in getting into the industry just 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I'm hoping that trajectory continues for you, because that's really what you want to feel. And I think now more and more women are realizing that that is an option somewhere, that you can work somewhere in the advertising industry and feel that your voice is valued and heard, and that not just your voice, but who you are as a person, that they want to see all of that. And that is definitely something that is not widespread.
It's
But
not.
people are realizing they can have it and that they deserve it. And I think that they're making those demands of the places that they're choosing to work. So I think that's amazing. So we talked kind of about like where you want to take your career. I would love to know, even at this stage, what is a career goal that you've set and achieved? Like, what is something that you've accomplished that you're proud of?
I will say when I first came to laundry service, it was more of like the back end operational aspects of a lot of the job function. And again, as part of me taking initiative and learning more to figure out how I can leverage the teams, I spoke with, again, the CMO and was like, listen, I want to learn more about the business. I want to engage. Where can I help? And as you know, creative and strat are pulled in so many different directions on so many different projects. So he was like, this is something I think you could help with. And I started doing a lot of brand research ahead of the pitch came in. The pitch didn't even come in, the RFI came in. This is like the breakdown, this is the brief. You know, before we even start assembling teams and figuring out, can you pull past activations, past campaigns, how have they showed up? What is the financial stats? Like whatever we need to kind of kick this off, I need help here. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, what are the key questions? And he would give me like 2 or 3. And from the 2 or 3, I had like a full out document that gave him everything that he didn't even ask for. It was like, okay, but in order to understand this, you need to know this. So this is how they even got here.
Girl work.
And then it was, oh, first of all, that was absolutely incredible. I'm passing it on to the team, and in doing so, I've had people from Strat reach out to be like, you just completely changed what we were thinking. Thank you for this. Or like, now we know, like, we actually are working on the same idea they did before in the past. So we're going to scratch that and go back to the drawing board. So I'm very proud of it because it helped me also carve out a lane to leverage other people in other departments. And also, again, continue to grow. And then from doing that, the VP of strategy, who's no longer there, but at the time, I had like at least 3 different pitches where I did that. And she was like, she hit me up separately and said, you don't know this, but you have the eye, or like, there's something there that is strategy work. Yes. And I think you should probably, if you're not in that lane, look into it, because the way you put things together, the way you think about it, the things you call out, you know, is strat. Yeah. And it was actually nice to have someone see something that I didn't even think about. I just took it, saw it, connected the dots, really enjoyed doing it. And she was like, there's something else here. I love that. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, you should be. I love that. And, you know, from what I've heard, like the results have been tangible, you know, pitches have been money has come in. You have contributed. So that is something to be amazingly proud of. And I just really can't wait to see what you do next. One last question, just for fun. I want to talk about, imagine that you had the ability to put together a brunch of just dream Black women that you would want to sit down with. The reservation is for 5 people plus yourself. 5 people. That's right. Who is invited? Who are you bringing to this dream Black women brunch? Oh man. Oprah needs a seat at the table. Yes. Issa Rae. Tracy Ellis Ross. Yep. Michelle Obama. Okay.
That's 4. Did I give you 4? Yes.
Yep.
One more. Oh, she's deceased, but I can't name her. I love Eartha Kitt. I think she was such a badass, but she's
This is
passed
a
away.
dream. You can name Eartha Kitt.
Oh, I adore her. I think what she's accomplished, how she showed up, she was so badass. She was just so outspoken. I love outspoken women. Eartha Kitt. That would be my ideal brunch because I think it's such a strong, accomplished set of women that all have their own stories because they all came from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Tracy Ellis came from, you know, royalty, but she created her own lane for herself and has been working for years, and not off the back of her parents, you know, on her own merit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're just different badass women that I would love to like just pick their brains on life because they have full lives, like just outside of their careers, but like full lives. I think that'll be my list.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned Eartha Kitt. Fun fact, my cat is named after her.
No way.
I call her Eartha Kitty.
Eartha Kitty?
Yes, because she's petite. She's petite, but she has like this poise and demeanor to her, and also
elegant.
Does what she wants. Yes, it's elegant, but also very stubborn. You know what I mean? And I mean that in a good way. Strong-willed, I would say. It's like, you know, and I love. There's this clip of Eartha Kitt, and she's talking about being expected to compromise for a man.
A man comes into my life and you have to compromise for what? For what? For what?
For what? For what?
It's my favorite clip ever. And she's just so small and feisty, but also
and she has such a tough life, but she literally created a space for herself. I love her.
I love that. I know. And I think that's kind of a common theme from the women that you named is making their own lane. And not
in their own way.
Existing pattern. Exactly. That's right.
Their
and
own way.
You know what? I mean, you belong at that table. You're doing the same thing. It's like, hey, I decided what I wanted. I'm making the universe make this work for me, and I'm creating my own lane where it does not exist before my eyes. So I think that's truly amazing. And, you know, I can't wait to see what you do next. As I said, the world is your.
And I will say this for you. That was my first time working with you on that last pitch. I've never worked with you before. Mm-hmm. And I have to give you your props. You were such a badass from the minute you came into the room to the minute you left the room. It was just like a whirlwind. You came in, everyone was like, yeah, Michelle, damn, Michelle, go call Michelle. Awesome idea, Michelle. It was just, I was in awe. And again, that was the first time working with you. So just seeing you in action was really great.
Oh,
I don't know if you get your flowers, but I'm giving them to you because I was just like, she's incredible.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I did get my flowers. I got my literal flowers that you guys sent to me. So another fun fact, during that pitch, I had my baby shower and my maternity shoot that was going on the weekend. And so Kendra hits me up and is like, oh, we need your address so we can send you something for the pitch. And I didn't think twice about it. I was like, all right, okay, fine. Here's my address. I'm thinking it's going to be a matching t-shirt situation. My head goes to the worst place. I've been on a pitch before where they wanted us to all wear matching t-shirts. And I'm like, oh man, they're going to send me a t-shirt. We got to all wear on the phone call. It would be lame. I don't want to do this. But it was actually flowers. It was flowers, and it was a bouquet to say sort of congratulations on this moment in your life. So thank you so much for setting that up. And I also used those flowers. I ended up using them in my maternity shoot. So when those pictures come out.
Oh, you did? And it was a Black-owned company.
It was?
Black-owned company.
Can we shout them out? What's the company?
I'll have to look it up. They're in Brooklyn. I can send it to you if you want to like add it in at some point, but I'll send it to you. Black-owned company. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Wow, that just makes it so much better. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on Black Tea. I have loved learning about your experience, and let's just keep journeying on together. Let's see what we can cook up.
Yeah, I would love to actually look back at this at probably some point in my career and be like, yeah, I spoke these things into existence, and like I can look back and be like, I have something to reference now.
I love that. I love that. Yes,
I love that.
the crime capsule.
Yes.
And to everybody out there watching, thank you so much for watching another episode of Black Tea. Please do check out all of our other episodes at musebycleo.com/Black Tea, and make sure you're following us on Instagram to keep up with the latest happening on our channel. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.